all these years I was struggling with landing pages. I was like, how can I create like better landing pages faster? I had always more campaigns with poor landing pages than the other way around.
Today's guest is Toni. He built a SaaS company used by Metallica and Harvard, bootstrapped and sold Floku, and is now the founder of Landing Rabbit, an AI-powered platform that builds landing pages from scratch.
You mentioned that you think you flipped the old model, right? Now content drives layout, not the other way around. Why is that shift so powerful?
As a marketer, you can focus on the content. So websites and landing pages are much more than just, the building part. The magic happens in the planning and in the content writing.
In this episode, we talk about product-led growth, AI native UX, going from 0 to 1 again, why marketers should start before the product is ready, and the real lessons behind selling a company after 12 years.
I just love the building part. I love building companies. I love getting started from scratch.
Hey everyone, today's guest built a SaaS company used by Metallica and Harvard, then sold it and started over again, all the way from scratch. Toni is the founder of Landing Rabbit, an AI-powered platform that builds landing pages from scratch using your own design system, copy style, and data. Before this, he bootstrapped and sold Flockler, a social media aggregator trusted by global brands. And now he's turning his product obsession into a mission, guess what? To eliminate the friction between idea and conversion. In this episode, we talk about product-led growth, AI native UX, going from 0 to 1 again, and why marketers should start before the product is ready. Let's dive into today's show. Welcome to the show, Toni. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. So let's go. Let's talk about Flockler. You built Flockler without a sales team and landed brands like Harvard and Metallica. Talk to me. How did you pull that off?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. We didn't start as a product-led or marketing-led company. In the beginning, we were doing very much like traditional sales, selling to bigger companies. We were quite early in the market, so the idea of the product was to gather content from social media and then show that content on a TV broadcast, for example, a live TV show, or in a branded website, a campaign. You might have sometimes participated in a hashtag campaign on Instagram or Twitter, sharing something, what you think. And we built a platform that helped brands to gather the content. But yet later on, it became a fully self-serve sort of company. We started doing a lot of content marketing first, like blog posts. Really didn't get much leads through that. First, we were like the first few years, we're like, okay, I'm not really successful with this one. But then over time, we realized how to actually convert users from blog posts or Google ads and various sort of paid marketing activities. And that then led to a business where all customers were coming through Google ads or SEO or the combination of those, some word of mouth, but absolutely no other marketing, like occasional visits to industry events and a few emails from me, no automated emails, just like everything through that Google ads and SEO. And it was an interesting learning experience. I realized over time that how much does it mean for your website to have really targeted and focused pages so that a person who visits your page, they really get the information without the help of a sales team. And I think quite a few sales-led teams could learn a lot from product-led teams, because product-led teams constantly think like, how can I get the same or very similar sales work done without the presence of a sales team member?
That's amazing. And talk to me about how did Harvard and Metallica land up in your pipeline, I ask.
It's one of those things. I remember Metallica really well because we had this dashboard of sort of like new trials that where did they embed our product? Because our product was something that usually it was embedded on a website or some sort of a system. And then all we kind of saw were the signs that, okay, now the free trial customer has embedded this somewhere. And that was a sign for us that, okay, well, they're actually getting somewhere. So then they did not just sign in, they actually got it done. And then I saw the Metallica.com and I was like, this must be an error. Like there must be something wrong with our data. And then, later on they upgraded, but I never had a chat with them. I never heard from them. Only after when they subscribed, and I sent them another follow up. I was like, hey, it's so amazing to have this band that I've been listening since I was a kid. It's so amazing to have this one with us. And then they replied, we built some relationship. But yeah, most customers were like that they, because of the nature of the product, we built it on purpose in a way that you can just, relatively low cost. So in a marketing team, you can just use your credit card. Most likely you don't need
Mhm.
approvals. And then it did not really need that many people in the organization to get started and get it live on the website. So that was kind of one of the benefits of, or still is one of the benefits of that company and how
I
it works.
love it. What's your favorite Metallica song?
There's so many, but if I need to pick one, maybe Sad But True.
I bet you. Good one. I love that. I like Nothing Else Matters.
Sure.
Just speaking about what you mentioned earlier about this, the sales team and learning from the product team, and talk to me more about that. Can you elaborate more?
Yeah, I mean, when we went through the transformation, kind of like from sales led to product led, I think one of the key things that was very different was the fact that in a sales led organization, you're kind of like you're approaching your dream clients through online, LinkedIn, other channels. You're pushing your story. Whereas with the product led company, I learned that the more content you can provide early on, the better chances you have to convert the team and the buying group with the buyer as well. So something that has been working for us really well within Flockler and this new company that I'm building is that I create content online that can be blog post or social media content. And then when I start meetings with people that have signed up, they might say, today they might say that they found us through ChatGPT
Hmm.
or SEO or so, and they come to a meeting in a way that they tell me how our product works and what are the benefits. Whereas if you're running the sales led sort of like a cold outreach and then kind of like introducing your service to that buyer, often you have this like the first meeting is just to get to know you and kind of like intro, why are we here and so forth. But in a content powered sort of marketing and sales motion, then the prospects often know quite a bit about you, and that helps the motion quite a bit.
Got it. And you decided to sell Flockler and start again. Why?
Yeah, it's a great question. Trust me, I was thinking about it for some time before I started a new one. When I sold the business to begin with, the first day after was quite tough. Like you wouldn't necessarily like. Of course, I was happy when I signed the agreement and it was all clear, especially because it was a long process to have those negotiations and go through. And it was unclear until the last moment when the actual deal was signed. But after that, it felt kind of strange to be not working for a company that you've been building for. At that time, it was almost 13 years, 12 years, something in, and I had put all my energy, all my thinking every day and night into that company. And when one day that kind of changes, you're now working for that company, but you still obviously love that business and everything you've built together with the founder team, your employees, and so forth. The feeling was pretty weird. And then
Mhm.
when time went by for a bit, I only realized that I actually want to build another one. And the reason wasn't that I kind of want to be successful or exit another one. It's just the fact that I love building companies. I love getting started from scratch. Right now, we've got our first clients, first like paying clients after setting up the company. And it feels as good as it felt, back then. And then I appreciate the fact that we are at the very beginning right now, and there's still like a long, long way to go before this company is anywhere. But I realized after, let's say, it took something like 6 months after selling the company, I kind of realized that um, I just love the building part. It's not
Right.
like sometimes as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you've built a lot of like reasons why you're working so hard. So you might have like, I have these projects, these clients that I need to serve. I have employees that
Yes.
I'm kind of responsible for their jobs as well. Or you have investors and you kind of feel like, okay, I'll need to get this done so that I can return the capital someday. You build these kind of like reasons why I'm working so hard, or at least I build those. And then when you actually stop in a way that selling a company kind of like forces you to cut ties, then yeah, that moment teaches, at least it taught me a lot about myself and why I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah, very very interesting. And you love to build stuff. I think that's the kind of key skill, key value that you detected. You mentioned about selling the company, right? Whoever found founders who exited the company, I think they selling the company is more stressful than actually running the company at times, because and then it is not over till someone signs on it, right? The final signature goes. And talk to me about what kind of lessons learned you learned from that part of exiting Flockler.
Yeah, I'd say that the hardest bit was the fact that I couldn't really tell the whole team that we are in this process right now. And obviously, in a like it wasn't a secret in terms of like the buyer would have accepted it, but I didn't want to cause anyone's like, like anyone hesitating that what's gonna happen to their work and is this company gonna continue as it is and so forth. Because I had built a great relationship with my employees. We were like some of our employees were there for 10 years or so. So like I really had good relationship with them, and I didn't want them to kind of like focus on the wrong things. And
Right.
that felt really hard throughout that process, because employees come to CEOs and entrepreneurs. They come and ask questions like, hey, can I plan something for my future, like like it's and then you're like, yeah, of course you can. Like, you need to kind of like act as if nothing is changing. And then at the same time, you're like, maybe we'll actually sign this. But I just realized that I have to kind of focus on the day to day, keep working hard. And then if it ever happens, that was my attitude, that if we ever sign, I'll handle that situation then after. And I, together with the buyer, we obviously kind of like agreed everything that the transition would be as smooth as possible. The all the existing employees continued working there and so forth. But yeah, I think it was rough times in terms of like trying to play like two games at the same time, like focusing on the day to day, showing up on dailies, discussing with my employees that what should we do now, what should we do in 3 months time, 6 months time, and so forth. And then at the same time, like having behind their backs, having this discussion. So yeah, it did not feel great, but had to do that.
Understood. Got it. And let's come to Landing Rabbit, right? Your latest one. Oh, what's the big idea behind Landing Rabbit?
Yes, I started after I sold the company. I started exploring that. Okay, what does what should Tony do when he's a grown up entrepreneur now? And I was looking at the sort of like list of things that bothered me throughout the Flockler journey. So I had obviously a lot of things within like how to run the team, how to do reporting, how to make sure that everyone is sort of like knows what the goals are, and then some of the things were related to marketing, and that's one of the things that I was passionate about. I was running that self-serve marketing for Flockler, and therefore I knew some of the issues that we had, and one of them was Google Ads landing pages. So when I created landing pages for Google Ads or created campaigns within Google Ads, then you get better results if the keyword or the topic of the campaign matches with the landing page. So if you just run campaigns to a homepage or otherwise a bit generic page, then the results are not that good, because if a person is searching for something, then they want that answer. They don't want to figure out if this company can do it or not. They just want to have that answer, that can you do it for me or not. All these years I was struggling with landing pages. I was like, how can I create like better landing pages faster? I had always more campaigns with poor landing pages than the other way around. And then, but I kind of thought that it's probably me, because I'm like self-taught marketer running a tech business. I'm not like marketing. I couldn't call myself like, okay, I'm a marketing pro. I came from this sort of like the tech company background. And I just thought it must be us and our custom built pages and so forth. But then I started interviewing others after I ended the Flockler journey. I also joined another company to help them a bit with marketing. And I saw the same things. When I was interviewing people, they were saying that, yeah, we just struggle to get this live. Like it takes like weeks in our process where there's like someone is planning the content, someone is designing the page, someone is building it, and it feels unbelievable because we've seen like like Webflow, WordPress. You can like list all these tools out there, and there's nothing wrong with the actual tools. It's just that the process is pretty complex because you need all those three skills like writing, content, thinking what customers would want to see on the page, design and build. And yeah, so that was the sort of like the idea behind it. But then the solution, as you know, is harder to build the right solution than having an idea what the problem could be and what the product could be. That's the easy part is the idea, and the difficult part is to actually create something that you can sell.
I got it. And you mentioned that I think you flipped the old model, right? Now content drives layout, not the other way around. So why is that shift so powerful?
Yeah, I think the idea of Landing Rapid is that you can give like an idea only, so you can just like give a keyword or so, and what it does for you, it generates the content based on what is the target of the campaign and what's your audience, and then it also builds the page for you. And as a marketer, you can focus on the content. So instead of like sort of like focusing on how to build the page and or ask someone else to build it for you, you can just you can start with the content. And that's a very key difference between the tools that we've built in the, let's say, in the 90s and early 2000 2010 even. Like there was this trend that let's build tools that are sort of easy to use for non-technical people to build. So they became like PowerPoint is the first one, obviously. So you don't
Yes.
need any technical skills, you can just build it. And the website builders have followed that same sort of thinking that it needs to be as easy as PowerPoint to build. Websites and landing pages are much more than just, the building part. The magic happens in the planning and in the content writing.
Should we look at an example? Should we look at how it's done actually with
Yeah,
an example?
yeah,
Can you share your
let's do
screen?
that.
And yeah, I think for the others listening into like Apple and Spotify, I'll try and explain what Tony is showing out here. So
Yeah.
maybe Tony, if you want to, talk your way through
Yeah,
the.
I'll talk you guys through. So basically, right now on the screen we can see Asana's website. So Asana is a tech company. Some of you might have used it before. It's a project management tool. I would say you can organize your projects in a Kanban style and different style, whatever you kind of like. And the idea of Landing Rapid is that we take a look at the page. What are your fonts and what are your colors? What do you do as a business? And then we try to pull that information in as accurately as possible. We're not like copying your page in full, because that wouldn't make sense in terms of us creating the page for you. But we're sort of like trying to understand that what are the key elements on this page that kind of make the brand. And in this case, you can see certain fonts, pink colors on Asana's page. You can also see some blue colors and so forth. And that's what we're looking at, or let's say AI is looking at that. And then when I go to Landing Rapid, then the
So sorry, just on that, does the buyer need to have an existing website, or he can even do it from scratch?
you can also start without a website.
Okay.
Our primary market are those who already have, for example, Google Ads running and so forth. So most of them have a website. But yeah, you can build anything from scratch as well. So
Okay.
it's not a requirement, so to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you've sort of logged in, whether you have or don't have a website, we then guide you through the process, gather information about you, and then all you need to do as a customer is to give some sort of a keyword. You can also add anything from your calls or notes or discussions with your clients. But here I'll just put a keyword like project management tool for tech companies. So this is a chat box for those who are
Actually, before you click that, let's do it for my company. Do you mind? Let's
yeah,
say.
I don't have the your company set up for this one. So currently,
Right.
I'm
Okay.
running with
Okay.
the
Okay.
Asana, and the setup takes a bit of time for us
All
to
right.
kind of like analyze what you're doing. But yeah,
Okay.
for this demo, I'll just run the Asana style.
So yeah, for the listeners listening, so what kind of setup you had to do at the back end is just walk us through, so someone listening
Yeah.
in.
So at the start, we take a look at your website. You only need URL, or if you don't have, then you just need like a description of the company, what it does, and then what we generate. If you have a website, we just pull in data from your website. What do you do as a company? What are your target customers? And then we take a look at the brand design. And then the next step, what I'm showing here right now, is like a step that we've analyzed. In this case, we've analyzed the Asana, what they do, and then they get a chat box window, which is saying that what would you like to turn into a landing page today? And as a sales team member, you might have a slide deck, for example, something that you're using with your customers, or you might have a sales call, notes from the sales call. You can add them here. You could have product specs like what you're building right now as a new feature, or you can just give a keyword or a phrase. So I wrote here project management tool for tech companies as the keyword, and then yeah, I can continue from here.
Okay.
And then the what the platform does in the background, it first takes a look at this keyword,
Mm-hmm.
and it tries to analyze, okay, what is this user sort of looking to do. In this case, I gave such a simple one that it was really quick. It says, great, we can create an industry page project management tool for tech companies. Does that sound good? It was obvious. But if you would have given, like, for example, sales call materials, then it would have went through like what's on the content and what it means, why is this relevant, and then suggest a page for you. When we then continue to next screen, we generate something that we call a page brief. And this
Right.
page brief is like a middle step before we start generating content. So the idea here is that we ask you to confirm that did AI get this right? So did the AI sort of understand that where you're looking to do and how this keyword or content is related to your business? So now we created for Asana this sort of like a different cards that tell persona
Mm-hmm.
alternatives, so other sort of companies that the prospect might consider, a problem that the prospects are facing, solution that you are serving, in this case Asana, then features and benefits. And these sort of cards you can edit, and you can sort of edit the content. So here, for example, alternatives is saying that instead of Asana, you could also use Jira, Trello, and spreadsheets. And if you want, you can then add other alternatives, or you can remove any of these. But the idea of this page brief is to kind of like have a chance for you as a marketer, or as a SaaS founder, or agency founder, or agency marketer, to take a look at, like, okay, is this correct? Is this gonna generate a good content? And if you really know your customers, you will spot things here that are not maybe 100% right, and making this better will then make the pages or a lot better as well. I'll just go through and show the page next. And the what we sort of, or what is the key difference between Landing Rabbit and other tools, is that we generate the page for you based on the plan, based on the content that you gave. And right now, in a 30 seconds or so, you can see the on the right hand side the page that we generated with Asana's colors in this case. But if this would be for you, then obviously that would be different colors. But as a marketer, you have like a ready page on the right hand side. You can add images there, and then you can make changes to it just by typing like you would type in Google Docs. And the reason why we've kind of built this way is that we know from all the interviews, from my own experience, from other companies, that people like to first create like a text document to go through, think about it. They want to change the order of things and so forth. But like text is a lot easier sort of format to like understand that, okay, what is the content on this page? But the key benefit of compared to Google Docs is that right now you get the wireframe or the page design instantly on the right hand side, and when you make changes, then the layout changes as well. And yeah, you can change the colors, you can do things with the page as well. But the key idea of the platform is that it should be like relatively nice looking out of the box, and always consistent. So always following your brands, not a fully AI generated. It's like there's some consistency in that, and then you can focus on the text. And the last step after this, once you're ready with the content, you can share it. So you can share this with anyone. There's a link to share with your team, and they can comment. They can leave comments like in Figma, and then you can export this to or import this to Webflow, Figma, and WordPress. Continue the work there, or you can publish with Landing Rapid. So you can use your own domain and publish this with us as well. But it's built for agencies and marketers who focus on the content, and then they either publish with us or they continue to work somewhere else on those.
Amazing. Yeah, and it has all the sections like FAQs, your testimonials, everything out there. So great stuff. Thanks for that. Thanks for sharing. Love it. And you just got your first paying customer. What have you learned about onboarding and conversion so far on that journey?
So we've got the first few handful of customers right now. It's awesome, and the conversions are pretty good. How we kind of built this, we built this quite differently compared to Flockler. So when I built Flockler, we started in a way that we asked customers that what would they like to have, or like what is the sort of problem that they have, and then we asked them to pay before we built the product. So we were like, okay, well, is this really so interesting? Like, is this really so important that you're willing to pay? But for this one, actually, instead of that process, we interviewed people multiple times, showed them prototypes or mock-ups first, and then invited them, those that were interested in the product, we invited them to this super early beta where the first version was basically just the onboarding flow, and you couldn't even log in, you couldn't even sign up. You just saw like, okay, this is how it generates a page. And you couldn't really share it or anything. It's just like, okay, now I've got a page. What now? But like we invited people very early on, and then got loads of feedback, like people sending us like 30-minute Loom videos telling like what should we do next and so forth, how we should improve this. And that gave us a lot of, I think the key difference between Flockler and this one is that now we know like what are the sort of like, what are the options out there? You know, like okay, if we would want to go and try to sell to these guys, we would need these and these capabilities, and these are the important bits. And then we also know that, okay, these people are already satisfied with our current product. So we're not like, building too many features and then guessing who would be the right customer. We have more information because we've involved users on the way. So the first few customers have been kind of easy to convert because they've been together with us for some time. But then the future will be obviously that counts, that can we then introduce this now as a more like a ready product, so that it's not like that you don't join any journey with us. You're just like, okay, you've got 14 days. Do you like it? It's a different game. But that's what we're now learning with Landing Rapid.
I love it. And this is a very important point, right? The level of feedback and testing you got. So how did you I think the numbers were over 200. How did you actually recruit and nurture those 200 plus
Yeah.
early testers? Because that's so important for any SaaS-based product.
Yeah, so all of those actually came through either Google and SEO or ChatGPT and SEO or LinkedIn content. So I haven't done any outreach, any paid marketing, anything, everything through organic. And the big difference between how I like to build these businesses versus what many founders say is that many founders say that I'm not going to invest in content and marketing before I have the product ready. That's their idea. That they sometimes tell me that they don't even feel that they have something to share, or that they sometimes they feel that they shouldn't share because it's some sort of a secret what they're building. And I'm like, well, you can start without the product. You can already start talking about the problems, the solutions to it. You can talk about the topic, and the key thing is to just like gather that audience, people discussing with you. So like we got instantly, like after I'd say like 1 month of LinkedIn content or 1 month of SEO, we started getting signups through our website saying like, even though it was just like a tagline saying that, new way to build landing pages or whatever. I don't remember what was it. It's a silly tagline, but
Yeah.
people were still into that, some sort of a promise that these guys are talking about the right topic. And then on LinkedIn, I've been posting ever since last year, like about a year ago or so. I've been posting like 4 times a week and constantly talking about landing pages, SaaS marketing, startup marketing, founder life, and so forth. And I've only done that because I want to build those connections. The
Right.
connections then later, they either like my product or they don't. That remains to be seen. But if you don't get those conversations started early, then once you've got the ready product, you kind of start from scratch, and you might even give up quite early because you don't have any traction for the product. But we've enjoyed the fact that we had 200 more than 200 companies testing. A lot more people are interested in, but like 200 companies actually like, okay, I'm signing up, I'm gonna test this, I'm gonna create a page with this tool, which was amazing. And then yeah, all the feedback from the day one when it was a scrappy, even not a product, but like something. It's just it really helps you build the audience for the moment when you then actually have something to sell.
Of it. And so when we look at Flockler to Landing Rabbit today, what's easier the second time around, and what's also harder, unexpectedly harder the second time
Yeah,
around?
I'd say easier. Not many things other than the fact that obviously I have an idea how to run this process now, like how to kind of like figure out that are people really interested in this product, or are they just saying, and like I've got like some sort of better sensors on that. When you're a first time founder, you're probably super excited about your idea and you're not ready to sort of like listen to your customers and then really figure out what these people want. You're just like too much focus on the product. And another thing that was easier was like back then I was one of those founders that was like always like a bit hesitant to share the early version or even talk about it before it's sort of like proven that we can do it, or we can build it, or we can solve your problem. So I was more like shy or hesitant to broadcast it. What has been harder is, I think, AI is one thing that adds a layer on top of this. So
Hmm.
like if I compare the previous market where I was building a product and it was super easy to sort of like take a look at the landscape, that okay, these are the competitors out there, and if we want to go after similar companies, then we would need some other capabilities. It was easier to kind of predict. Right now that's the opportunity, but that's also the hard thing. It's like as a founder, you don't know that are people really ready to buy these AI tools at all? What is the market gonna look like how the existing players are gonna react to this. Are they just gonna add like some band-aid on top, or are they actually like trying to rebuild their businesses and compete with us? Or it's just really hard to predict what is out there. So that's probably harder than the previous time. And also when it comes to sales, it's definitely harder now to kind of stand out when you're sending a message, because everyone is getting so many AI generated messages and
True.
sort of like bots discussing with you in LinkedIn DMs, and it's not easy to stand out, I'd say.
Yeah. And you said you also did a lot of, I would say, initial engagement was through AI. I mean, did you use AEO or how, just through, how did that come along?
Yeah, so like a lot of people actually, like a lot of my meetings, people are saying that we found you through ChatGPT, and you guys got recommended quite a few times by ChatGPT, and that has an interesting sort of like how would I say, it's like in the past you were much more in control, like where do you show up within the Google results. It was first of all difficult to get to the top 10 with SEO. You kind of like, okay, I'll need to work on that. And then ads, you were kind of like, okay, I'll only advertise for those keywords that are really relevant. But with it's much more unpredictable, because someone might start their journey asking like, I need this tool X, and then they give more information for the AI, but okay, it would also need to do this. And the AI might then recommend us because we might specialize in something, but it doesn't mean that we cover everything what they did or they requested at the start. So some of the leads that are coming through and discussing with me, and they say that okay, I found you through ChatGPT, then they have slightly like different idea of what does the tool do compared to those who come through my blog post or social media content. So yeah, I think the expectations are quite different, but also so much happens behind the scene when it comes to ChatGPT and other AI tools out there.
Absolutely. I mean, let's talk about this, right? You're teaching at Imperial on SaaS ideas. What's the number one trap you see early founders fall into?
Yeah, that's a cool one. I'd say marketing is like one of the easiest ones to mention. Like I had a chat in after running one of the lectures at Imperial. I had a chat with a founder, new startup founder, who was like, "We don't want to talk about this because we're still building, and we don't want like competition to find out about us." I'm like, you should talk to everyone, like just like even competitors, like everyone, because it's like that's the way of finding those opportunities. You only through experience you understand, especially if you're building a tech product, you understand that the ideas are so free, and everyone is probably having the same ideas. If they are in the same space, they're not that unique. Usually there's already others building something similar. The only difference is that do you have the persistence, the stamina to go through, build for years, and do a lot of marketing. And what I learned with Flockler was interesting, that like we were in a super competitive market in the end. At the start, we were like, nobody knew what we were doing, and people were saying like, I don't know, why would I use this tool? And then at certain point when there were more sort of like, okay, they were actually competitors as well, sales got easier because people were like, yeah, we've already been looking at that tool and that tool, and they have these and these benefits. And then we were able to actually tell about our benefits, not just like, what this tool does and what is it all about. So like, yeah, as a first time founder, it's like it's really important to discuss with as many people as possible and tell about the idea, because that will spot the weaknesses of like, okay, yeah, well, those people don't even like understand what I'm talking about. So it's like it's going to be hard to sell this tool. But if you're just like keeping it until it's kind of ready to share with the world, and you the sort of that kind of like people not understanding what you're building and who's the right audience.
The very important question also, how important is it for the founders or the startup founders that you've seen out there in Imperial, right? For them to actually have a mentor, a coach at this journey, right? They're pretty much like, I'll discover it on the way, but talk to me about that. How important is that?
Yeah, I've had mentors basically all my entrepreneurship. So my first company started accidentally, as I call it. So I was working in an agency, and the agency owner, I don't know why he hired me. I was a like a business student graduating from business school, but I had worked in a mobile app project, building a mobile app concepts and so forth. So that probably gave me like an opportunity to even become one of the project leaders in that company. We got some ideas to build the first product together with customers, and the agency owner was like, he was a serial entrepreneur, and he was like, okay, let's build another company together. And then we gathered a group of people, started that, and it wasn't planned at all. But ever since, I've had like mentors, like serial entrepreneurs with me. We had some angel investors for the first ones, that we had like 10 or so exited entrepreneurs. And if I ever had a problem, something where I needed help, they were just phone call or an email away. Then I moved here in London around 2011 or so. That was my first trip here, and ever since, like, the reason why I'm still in London is the fact that I found so many cool people that have never asked anything for return. They've always been like, okay, I'm there for you. I'm gonna help you out. And the Imperial connection is actually coming through one of those things. So the person who's running a course regarding entrepreneurship, a program there, he was one of the sort of like what was called like a Silicon Roundabout here in London, so something like a early 2010s, like an initiative to build the area, the tech scene here in London. And he was one of those running that program. And he gave me a free desk and introduced me to Travelodge, Virgin Holidays, quite a few others that we signed as customers.
Wow.
Never ask anything for return, or yeah, a small commission maybe, but like really did not ask anything. And now he's running this Imperial entrepreneurship thing, and he sent me a message that can you do a favor and run some some classes or do some talks there. And I'm like, of course I will. Like, it's a way for me to pay like
Forward.
much back. But yeah, that's the value of mentors. Like you get some, and then hopefully you can give back.
Yeah, we call it paying forward always. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. Love that. Now, talking about if Landing Rabbit actually works exactly how you dream it will, what will marketers never have to do again?
Marketers will never ever have to tweak pixels and like say, like be like, oh, why isn't this working on mobile and tablet? Because I've been doing that. It's so frustrating that you might spend like 30 minutes now with AI, even shorter time to actually write the content and be like, okay, this kind of ready to go. But then you might spend like 4 hours yourself, or you wait for a couple of weeks for the design and developers to be free. Especially if you work for a tech company, it's not like it would be slow for designers and developers to build there. They can build it in a like a flat, like it doesn't take time. But
Yep.
as a SaaS company, you're always like thinking that, well, should we build any marketing pages, or should we build something that customers are ready to pay for? Okay, let's go and build something that customers are ready to pay for. So you always, as a marketer, you're the second class in that order. And I hope I can change that so that the marketers get like, okay, I can do it myself. I can get things live, and that's not stopping from growing the company.
Love it. And talk to me, what does success look like for you with the second venture with Landing Rabbit?
I think success, to be honest, looks like that I keep enjoying the building part of it, because I never appreciated it enough with Flockler. I was too worried about what others are thinking, or can I return the capital to investors? Can I keep the jobs? When it's obviously like a hard moment when you have to kind of like fire people if it's not working, or those moments are really hard. But I think I'm still focusing on the wrong things. Like the first thing for entrepreneurs is like, be sure that you're motivated to do that, your well-being is on a right track, and then you probably can then help your team as well. So yeah, I think my goal for this one is that I'll just enjoy building the company. And I've never been like a planner in terms of like 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. I've always had only plan for tomorrow. Like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do today, maybe tomorrow, but I don't have like in 5 years time, I want to be like 100 million and exiting this. It's I've never been like that. So, but yeah, I just want to enjoy building this one.
I love that. It comes out so clearly. Talk to me, what are your top 3 values that have made you successful today?
I'd say that definitely like persistence in terms of like I just don't take the no for answer, and I don't give up easy. I'm like, if something goes wrong in the business, I'm the first one kind of saying that, okay, let's just like take a look at it, and then let's move on. Like, let's not like stay there and be sorry for ourselves for a too long time and just like get stuck in the past. That's been easy, and it's part of that is because I played ice hockey as a junior kid and as a goalie, and goalies have this unfortunate sort of part in the ice hockey or any other sports
Yeah.
really, that you just have to forget like immediately when you fail, and you do that quite often. Then you just have to forget, like, to focus on the next one. And I wasn't really good at that, but that's what I was kind of learning to do, and I think I've taken some of that with me. I'd say second thing for me has been the sort of like the curiosity always. I've always been curious about like how to improve our team, how to kind of like cut corners a bit if possible.
Is that the Elon Musk way to delete?
Yeah, exactly. And I remember some summer jobs where the boss was asked me to meet her in her room after 2 weeks of working there. And I was like, okay, this is not good. I've only been here 2 weeks, and she wants to meet me like personally without giving any context. I'm like, okay, what have I done? But then she was like, could you explain how you can take like, like 4 times more customers in the same period of time as these others? I was kind of trying to tell how I'm not breaking the rules, but I'm still like cutting corners in certain places. So
Yes.
yeah, that's been like the curiosity, I think. And then I think the third one for me has always been the fact that I really enjoy meeting new type of people and kind of like, taking something another person has and then putting that together and bringing those ideas to the team. But yeah, I think those are curiosity and the persistence and the sort of like open-minded for new opportunities. So yeah, those are probably the
That's
values.
that's amazing. And what's your book you recommend to any founders starting up right now?
I say that one of the books that had really like changed my thinking as well was this Story Worthy. So it's Matthew Dick's Story Worthy, and he's explaining how to tell stories in a context of like telling jokes on stage or so. It's relevant for anyone who's like writing content, emails or LinkedIn post, or founder trying to sell their product. There's a lot to learn about like how the storyline should be, how you should build that story, and then how you should also end that story. And like I think it was fascinating book. And one of the big things that I've taken from there was very practical things. It's like a note, taking notes and storing your ideas constantly, and then coming back to those ideas every now and then those inspire you to do a story. So because he's a stand-up comedian, he is using those for like maybe notes on what happened today and what was interesting, what was funny, what was scary, what was more like personal life experience. But in my sort of context, I'm storing things that I think about the product, the our customers, what our customers are saying, and then I'm noting them on my Apple Notes. What I do with them is that every Saturday or Sunday, I'll write my week's LinkedIn post based on those ideas. So I just like, I scroll through those ideas, I'll take a look at them, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, well, there's something in this. And then I write those posts just like, on a sofa or somewhere outside in a park, yeah, wherever. And I think that's really fascinating, sort of something that everyone should first of all read that book if you're doing any presentations or any sort of like marketing work, and then the practical tips are amazing too.
That's beautiful. You're a young person. What would your 50-year-old self thank you for what you've done today? What you're doing
Yeah.
today?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I really don't know. I hope I'll for the next coming, if I have some lifetime left here, I hope I'll keep enjoying the life as much as I can. Like just like full on, always curious to learn, always want to win. I'm not a good loser in a game or somewhere else. I just I hope I'll be as excited as I've been so far building these products.
Love it. Toni, that's amazing. Thanks for being on the show today. That's a wrap.
Thanks for the invite.